Welcome to Casa Academy Chapter 5, Part 5, where we will cover real estate brokerage activities and procedures. I'm super excited to guide you through this one because we're getting into the actual real-world foundation of how a real estate business operates out there. So let's jump right into this explainer and start exploring the different business structures available to you. Look, someday soon, you might decide you want to be the boss and open your very own real estate business. And if that's the dream, knowing exactly how to legally structure it from day one, that's absolutely vital. Here is our roadmap for the lesson. 1. The sole proprietorship. 2. Personal liability risks. 3. The critical distinction. 4. Personal investment rules. 5. Brokering for others. And finally, 6. Essential takeaways. We've structured this specifically to help you lock in those crucial legal distinctions for your state exam. Let's do this. Section 1. The sole proprietorship, the simplest business entity. We're starting at the absolute baseline with the simplest form of business ownership you can possibly set up. Right, so a sole proprietorship is exactly what it sounds like. It's a business owned by one single person. Because there's only one owner, a sole proprietorship is usually the easiest, least complicated way to get a business off the ground. There are no messy boards of directors, no complex voting shares to worry about. It's just you making all the calls and steering the ship. Moving on to Section 2. Personal liability risks, the major disadvantage. Now, as great as that simplicity sounds, it comes with a pretty huge catch that you absolutely have to be aware of. You see, in a sole proprietorship, there is literally zero legal separation between the business and you, the owner. You are personally liable for all the business debts, obligations, and any legal claims. Practically speaking, if the business gets sued, your personal assets, we're talking your personal bank account, even your house, could be on the line. This total lack of liability protection is the big trade-off for that simplicity we just talked about. It's a massive difference compared to other business entities we'll cover later on. Okay, Section 3, the critical distinction, personal versus public. Now, this is where we hit a fork in the road when it comes to licensing. It all comes down to exactly who you are doing real estate activities for. Check this out. It's the difference between doing real estate for yourself versus doing it for the public. On the left side here, we have buying and selling for personal investment. And on the right, operating as a real estate brokerage for the public. This split right here, this is the beating heart of Florida's regulatory framework. You have got to know exactly which side of this divide you're standing on at any given moment. Section 4, personal investment rules, acting on your own behalf. Let's take that left path first and look at a sole proprietor who just wants to build a rental portfolio for their own account. If you're just looking to purchase, own, lease, or sell your own personal property, you've got a ton of freedom. You can do all of that, and you can even hire employees to help out with your properties, like collecting rent or handling repairs, as long as you compensate them appropriately. But the huge takeaway here is that as long as you're only dealing with property you own, you don't need a real estate license. And you don't even need to file state formation documents to start this type of sole proprietorship. Section 5, brokering for others, serving the public. Now, let's flip to that other path. What happens when you decide to start helping other people buy, sell, lease, or exchange real estate? Oh, and really quickly, your verification code is 598777. Now imagine you're that sole proprietor, and someone drops a client file on your desk, maybe file number 657001. The second you open that file and start reviewing a transaction for a client, you are no longer just an investor. You are now officially providing services to the public. And boom, you just crossed the line. You went from acting for yourself to acting for others, and that changes all the licensing rules. Because now that you're serving the public, the state steps in with some very strict compliance rules. To legally do this, you absolutely must hold an active Florida real estate broker's license. And you have to officially register with the DBPR as a sole proprietorship broker. To be perfectly clear, you can't just use a sales associate license for this, and you definitely cannot do it unlicensed. No way. So, what do you even call this new brokerage of yours? Well, you can use your actual legal name, something like John Doe, licensed real estate broker. Or you can use a registered trade name, a catchy DBA like the best real estate company. But either way, you must strictly follow Florida's naming and registration rules. They give you a little creative freedom with your branding, but absolutely zero wiggle room when it comes to legal compliance. Section 6, Essential Takeaways, Reviewing the Paths. All right, let's pull all these threads together and lock in the most important points you need for your exam. Consider this your ultimate cheat sheet for the topic.
A sole proprietorship equals a single owner, but it comes packed with immense personal liability. If you're just managing your own personal real estate, no license is needed. But the second you represent the public, a broker license and DBPR registration become completely mandatory. That's the line in the sand you've got to remember. Personal investment equals no license. Public representation equals a broker's license and DBPR registration, period. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Is the total simplicity of setting up a sole proprietorship really worth the heavy weight of all that personal liability when you're representing the public? As you plan out your own future brokerage, think hard about that risk versus reward. It's going to help you figure out which business structure is truly going to serve you best down the road.